Star Trek, the next generation. You love throughout the nation. You're my favourite show. Was in every episode you're lucky. You don't have to wait for passes. You just step into the transporter and off you boldly go. Mr. Wall's my favourite person.
We are the Org. Our mission is to assimilate Star Trek The Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and beer. Lots of beer.
You're listening to a Geek Planet Online community podcast. For more free entertainment, including podcasts and videos, visit us at geekplanetonline.com.
Hello, friend!
Hello!
Welcome to bOrgCast 1.6. It's
Sorry.
that happy time again when we cover
No.
Just for those who weren't around for how this developed, we didn't originally do the first series of Next Generation.
No, because I refused to, because it's fucking shite.
But then I somehow managed to persuade her that we could do them spread out over a long period of time.
You must have got me very, very drunk.
Well, it worked tonight. So here we are with, first of tonight's episodes.
Oh, they're all bollocks.
Show your hand. It's Datalore.
What do you mean, don't show my hand? It's fucking season 1. Why do I have to hide the fact it's shite? Anyone with brains knows it.
There are some quite good episodes to see.
These aren't them.
No, these aren't them, you're right.
Bollocks.
Next time on Star Trek The Next Generation.
Can this be another me?
The discovery of Data's perfect android double
How much can you trust Data now?
leads to a deadly game of who's who.
He's been hurt. This is very serious.
Now, Data's evil twin plots to destroy the crew
Back off. Go!
with the help of a lethal life force on Star Trek The Next Generation.
So there we are. The trailer, of course, shows the original effects, not the ones that are on the Blu-ray, and I still can't remember whether or not Netflix has the updated effects or not, but it does make a bit of a difference this episode, as we'll find out.
Not really.
Oh, it does to the crystalline entity, believe me.
Still doesn't to all the rest of the fucking Brent Spiner bollocky shite.
Yes. So we start with Who's at the... And it's Geordie, of course, in the first season. You always forget that.
No, I don't. It's about the only good thing in it.
And I've just realised, of course, you're supposed to be leading with this episode, so...
Yes.
You could stop swearing for a minute and get on with it.
No, I'll get on with it, but I'm not fucking stopping swearing, because this is fucking arse biscuits.
Right.
Captain's log, hooray, bollocks.
You don't have to shout the entire thing.
Right, sorry. I've had to have 4 pints of beer already to endure this gobshite. Feck arse women's knickers. Right. Captain's log. We're going to Data's home planet. So, of course, we must assume he's all emotional, even though he's an android. No, he isn't. What a surprise. He's practising sneezing. Fuck off. Hooray, it's Wesley.
Oh, yeah.
Silence the child or send him away.
Yeah, I mean, this is bizarre, because they send Wesley to talk to Data when all the Captain needs to do is hail him.
I know, but that happens on other times in this episode. They haven't worked out that they've got the option of tippy-tappy.
Yeah. And Data's causes look a bit different in this, the first time we see them. Because
Do they?
Yeah, it's a lot more blue than we're used to.
Right.
Yes, they got rid of the blue.
Right. There aren't any life readings. I don't know why they thought there would be necessarily, but there aren't. Now, there are occasionally interesting points. Mm-hmm. I have therefore written down the occasionally interesting points.
Right.
First occasionally interesting point.
Mm-hmm.
Data doesn't actually contain the entire memories of the colonists. What he contains is their knowledge, which, given a later episode with Old Woman, is worth remembering.
Yep. Is that's the one where the crystalline entity comes back, isn't it? Yes. Which is called...
There's no point in asking me.
Isn't it crystalline something?
Oh, fuck knows.
Silicon Avatar?
Possibly.
There you are, Silicon Avatar.
Right, whatever. Anyway. Everything was dead and dying when Data was found 26 years ago, so we know his age. Mm-hmm. He's 26. Again, I'm doing the interesting points. Mm-hmm. There won't be many.
Mm-hmm. The set's terrible.
Oh, it's fucking awful.
All the first season Alien Planet sets are just awful. I mean, they eventually realise that you're going to have to go on location to make somewhere look real, because it's real Blue Peter stuff.
It is. So there's a papier-mâché cave.
Yes.
Within which Geordie finds a secret door. Now, I like this because this is part of the way his visor works.
Yeah.
And I always find that interesting, personally. So he spots it because of that. Another thing we both picked up on is the fact that the music was very reminiscent of Alien, wasn't it?
Yes, very good score, actually, for this story. And the corridors that they go down once they go through the door are actually quite well lit as well.
Yeah, they are. They're not your standard corridors.
Yeah, downside is that there's no level of detail on the walls.
No.
The ceiling's really good. It's all this grid stuff, which they've put shine the lighting through.
And it makes a pattern on the floor, which is quite
and on the actors as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the walls are as plain as...
Yeah.
as
well, occasionally
back of
they have this sort of writing on, alienish writing. There was one on the doors before they opened at one point, I spotted it.
All right.
So they have put some details on in places.
But not much.
No. So they open this door and find that prop.
Yes, it's the lab, including that two red light things that comes in so many... I mean, Rafa Khan, I think, was the first time we saw it.
But there's been loads.
Yeah,
since.
it's a prop that they hire from time to time from the same company, obviously. And,
yeah.
Yes, unfortunately. It turns up in other films as well. It's a very popular prop, that one.
Yeah. The next thing of interest to note is the face mould, because I quite like this as a prop thing.
Mm-hmm.
And presumably Brent Spiner sat for it so that they could make it. But I like it as a... It hints at what's to come in terms of that he isn't alone. But also, I just think it's a good prop.
Yep.
Then we see Data's arse.
Bottom.
Yeah. I mean, in the series Bible, it was suggested that Data was created by an alien race, but they changed their mind at this very early point, so it didn't matter, and went with being created by Sung instead.
Yeah. And then we ended up all asking the question while we watched, if he's got an arse, has it got to Willy?
Yes.
Does it appear to have all your parts?
Completely, sir.
Will we know how to turn it on?
To which the response is, well, it depends whether or not it's got to
Well,
Willy.
it's Riker saying, does it appear to have all your parts?
Yes.
Which is an unfortunate phrase in checking the data knob is intact. And then Geordie asks, will we know how to turn it on? It's just like, oh dear. No, really? Bad choice of phrase there. Bad phrasing.
Yeah, but one of the few moments of levity in this episode of wank.
We also meet the Chief Argyle for the second time, who's last seen in Where No One Has Gone Before. It's an interesting story. That is played by Biff Yeager. Will Wheaton suggested that Yeager had been considered as a regular chief engineer for the first season, because this is his last appearance, I think. But then the showmakers started receiving emails asking for him to stay, some of which arrived before his first appearance was transmitted.
Bizarre.
Yes, and then some fans complained they'd seen spam emails asking him to campaign for the actor to become a regular.
Aha.
Yeah. So whether or not Wheaton's memory is playing tricks, we don't see Yeager again in the series. So.
No. We get, and again, this pays out later in the series, the introduction of Data's off switch and the fact that the only person who knows where it is Crusher.
Yes, but except later on in the series, somebody knows about it.
But
it does get contradicted. But anyway,
at this point, only Crusher, and I'm sure it comes up again that only Crusher knows, possibly before it's contradicted later. But anyway, and the reason that this is introduced is because the reason we've met Argyle is they're trying to assemble Data's brother, but they can't do it without looking at Data himself. And he's quite happy for this to happen. One of the things I noted, and I don't know whether I noticed it because Data is very much the focus of the episode or not, but Data nods his consent and his hair moves in a really kind of obvious way.
Right.
And I don't think that's something I noticed later. And I don't know whether he's wearing a wig as part of the makeup and later they do his hair to fit or what. But
I don't think
his hair moving like that is not something
he has
I've
a lot
ever
of products
noticed.
on it.
It's not something I've ever noticed in other episodes at all. So, yes, as a result of all of this, we meet Law.
Which is a dumb name. I've never quite understood why they went with Law.
No, neither have I, but I just said he's a law unto himself.
Yes, but I mean, you wouldn't name something...
Well, it's spelled Lore, and what does that actually mean?
It is Lore.
Yeah, that's what I mean. As distinct, Laurent himself
would
is
be
L-A-W.
yeah.
What does L-O-R-E mean, though? Isn't it like folklore, isn't it? Might that be the...
Yeah, or maybe there's something in computing. I don't know. But anyway, it's a bloody odd name. Never understood it. I suppose I could Google that, couldn't I?
Here okay. I mean, it's better than being called Ram.
Indeed.
And then we have a scene that's been a meme, but understandably so for a while, which is where Picard is talking about Lore, saying it.
Something about the body of knowledge, which would make more sense for Data. I suppose it's just another name for Data in some senses then, isn't it?
Synonymous.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
There we are. That's that mystery solved.
Fine. Thank you. We have a scene where Picard is referring to Lore as it. And Data then says, I know she's still using it and not him. That would imply that you believe that I am a machine, not a person. And instead of going, Picard literally holds his hands up and says, you are right. I stand corrected. And this has been used as a meme for cis people to just cope with how a trans person wishes to be addressed. Mm-hmm. That's how you do it. You will almost certainly, as a cis person, get it wrong initially, but when you're corrected, you just hold your hands up and say, I'm sorry, I stand corrected.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that Gene Roddenberry never would have envisaged that it would be used in that way, particularly what I'm reading from this book you've lent me, which is an awesome book, but Roddenberry's a cunt.
Yeah, it's the first 25 years of Trek.
But yeah, whilst Roddenberry himself... I don't know, Roddenberry seems to have changed, and the more I read, the more I wonder whether his dementia was early onset.
Well, the book does actually suggest that. And a lot of the people around him, he was behaving odder and odder as time went on. That's why they sidelined him. And then they realised that actually, yes, it was dementia. So yeah, I think he had it fairly early.
Because what the first Trek was like and how he was with that fits much more with the sort of thing you have here with this meme. Mm-hmm. Whereas by the time that episode was airing, he probably would have been anti if you'd asked him.
Yeah,
Do you see what I mean?
we'll cover this more when we cover the next episode.
Oh no, fine.
He was the co-writer of.
No, absolutely. But it's very much a Star Trek thing to be inclusive.
Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be, yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many fans haven't picked up on that, isn't it? With the new series.
Hell.
But anyway, moving on.
Yes. And the next thing my notes say is Smiley Law is smiley and now he's singing. He just fucks me off. It's
you can tell Brent Spiner's having the time of his life here because he's suddenly able to do emotions and stuff that he can't normally do.
But we're grateful that he can't normally do them.
Exactly, it's not a great performance. It was him that suggested the evil twin, by the way. Originally, they were going to find
fucking hell,
a love interest for Data, which I'm not sure that would have been any better. But
no, but evil twin, really?
I know, it is such a cliche, and he does go to town on it somewhat, doesn't he?
And it's terrible. Look, if he thought of this evil twin idea, you know what he should have done? He should have sat down and watched Doctor Who. It's the 7-parter with Pat Troughton. Is it called The Face of the Enemy?
No, but there's Enemy of the World.
That might be it.
But it's not a 7-parter, I don't think. It's nowhere near that long.
Oh, it's very long, though.
I don't think so. I think it's only 4 parts.
I think it's longer.
Well, I can wiki that in a minute then and set you right, although, to be honest...
The point is, however long this episode is, Patrick Troughton plays himself and his doppelganger, and he does it right.
Well, he does, although his Spanish accent's a bit
he's being asked to do a Spanish accent, I mean, but he doesn't...
Nobody else speaks in that accent, it's bizarre. Anyway, it's a good story.
I like his performance in it, and I like the distinction he makes between the two characters, Salamander and the Doctor.
Yeah, you're just trying not to cover this story.
Do you fucking blame me? Yeah. I mean, seriously, if Law had a moustache, he'd twirl it.
Yeah, very much.
And I reckon that's why he's got the twitch, because he should have a moustache to twirl and doesn't. Then you get Yar asking what is absolutely the right question. How much can you trust Data now? Which is a bloody good point. Which comes up later. And to be fair, the captain says, however horrified everybody looks, the captain says...
Well, it's 6 episodes, you weren't far wrong.
There we are. I was more right than you. 6 is closer to 7 than 4.
You're right, yeah, no, I put my hands up. In true Patrick Stewart style.
Fair enough, fair enough. Then Law poisons Data, is that even possible?
Well, it shouldn't be possible for her to be ill either, but we've seen that already, so...
Fine.
Yeah.
Wesley spots its Law.
Oh, this is where it really gets annoying.
Now, I don't think...
A, Wesley saves the day, and B, everybody ignores Wesley when blatantly Wesley knows. Oh.
Well, the thing is, I think that the reason Wesley spots it is because Wesley is the one physically closest, and he spots the twitch.
Yeah.
Rather than it being Wesley saves the day because it's Wesley, it's actually Wesley saves the day because he's the one in closest proximity.
Yeah, except right at the end, it's him that beams.
Oh, no,
Law.
yeah, that's a load of bollocks. And then they're all like, no, and they won't listen to him. He doesn't say anything, because, whatever's.
Mm.
One thing I do like when fake Data, who's Law pretending to be Data, goes and attacks Data, is I don't like the way it's executed in terms of the effect, but I like the idea of the fact that if he kicks him in the head enough, some flap somewhere is going to open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't really like the way it's realised. It's just a little bit of green. It looks a bit shit.
Yeah, it's a makeup appliance, and therefore it sort of sticks out from his forehead.
Yeah,
obviously.
and it looks a bit... But I like the concept that he's got these flaps in his head. It makes sense that there would be as access points, and therefore if you kick his head, one opens.
Yeah.
I like the concept. My notes then just go, stupid people are stupid.
Yeah.
Followed by, shut up, Wesley.
Yeah, don't. So rude. So rude.
Yeah, but, I mean, I would... If I met Wesley, I'd go, shut up, Wesley.
Yeah.
Before even open his mouth.
And again, that's become a meme, but in this particular instance, it's just the captain being wooed. It's not good.
And then we get what on Edge of Forever would blatantly be a sexism count when Picard orders Crusher off the bridge.
Yeah. He's wooed to her as well.
No, sexist fucking cunt. Blatantly Roddenberry influenced bollocks. Then Worf gets prawned.
Yes, I think this might be our first instance of Worf getting prawned just to show how powerful the opposition is. And which very much became a reoccurring theme.
Yeah. And then you have the line, I heard you know how to turn him on.
Yes, always good.
Fanar. I do like Law's phrase, troublesome little man-child.
Man-child, will you ever win? Man-child, look at the state you're in.
Oh, I only vaguely remember that. Right, okay.
By Nina Cherry, sorry.
Yeah.
My brain was going to anywhere other than this piece of shit. Mm-hmm. So for a little while I sang that song to myself and remembered her appearance while 7 months pregnant on Top of the Pops.
Oh, right. Remember your happy place. Although I'm not sure 7 months pregnant was a particularly happy place, was it?
No, not for me. But
for
when
her.
She was. She was
right,
7 months pregnant on Top of the Pops singing this song.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sorry. Any distraction at the moment is welcome because this episode sucks balls. So then there's a rubbish altercation where Data's like, no, go, Dr. Crusher. I'm going to be compassionate and only threaten your son. And she should be like, no, take me. She should blatantly say that line, but doesn't.
Well, when he shoots her with the phaser and her sleeve's on fire, that's quite good.
Yeah, I like that. And then you get him saying, I'm fine, and he twitches, and it's just... And it's just all fucking bollocky, shitey, fetid clunt custard.
Yes, I mean, they make the point at least 2 occasions that the way to tell between Law and Data is that Data doesn't use contractions. And then his last line of the story, he uses a contraction. Well done, script writers. Well done.
It's supposed to be funny, isn't it? Like that bollocky shite Deep Space Nine episode with Keiko and the fucking coffee and O'Brien.
No, it was a mistake. It should never have happened.
No, that's like that episode with Keiko. Yeah.
It wasn't on purpose. They didn't do it for a laugh, believe me.
Yeah, right. But the whole thing is wank, and it's horrible.
And you've managed to completely skim over the presence of the Silicon Avatar, which is probably good news.
It looks like a fucking fish tank plant.
It looks a lot better on the Blu-ray than it does on the DVD.
I haven't really done the plot, because there wasn't one and it was shit. As I said in the beginning, this is all wank, and I'm just points of note. Those are my points of note. The basic plot is as follows. Oh, look, Data has an evil twin. Oh, look, he's the one who called the crystalline entity there and killed all the the colonists, oh, look, he's going to do the same to the Enterprise, but, oh, no, he's got taken over by Wesley. Hooray, Wesley saves the day, fish tank plant fucks off.
For no adequately explained reason.
Yes.
Because it's powerful enough to defeat the Enterprise, as we find out in the later story.
Yeah.
So why the hell does it just naff off at this point? It's bizarre.
Because Law has been beamed into space.
Yeah, what you mean without Law he couldn't find them? I mean, it's not...
Oh, fuck knows. None of it makes any fucking sense. It's all just fetid piss flaps.
And they do mention the computer refit at the end, which we will cover quite soon, actually.
Right, will we?
Yes, that's something to look forward to. Well, some good effects.
No. I'm not doing season 1 anytime soon. That was bloody awful. I got Brent Spineritis, and I've already had 4.5 pints, and we're only, half an hour into recording? Yeah. This is fucking terrible.
Yeah. It is. It's plodding. It's obvious. It's annoying. All the Wesley stuff is annoying, not just because of Wesley being Wesley, but of the fact that they don't believe him. And it's that stupid thing where you know what the truth is as an audience, so all the other characters look intensely stupid for not realising it. It's like, never do that. That's just bad writing.
Yeah. Anyway, this is wank.
Yes. Well, you never know. People might be a big fan of this. Shall we find out?
Go on.
Dory says this. Wesley's moany wee boy reputation is not helped by the fact that he is sent to unobtrusively check on Data, but when he tries to tell the bridge crew his findings, he is not believed because he is a teenager. And let's face it, he is just following his mum's lead, given she's been questioning Data's exact words. Dr. Crusher almost having a hissy fit when asked to leave the bridge to chaperone Wesley isn't overly befitting a professional. Anyone else get the feeling she is a tiger mum? What's a tiger mum?
Oh.
Feed their kids lots of ricicles?
No. Another means the same thing, different expression. Mama bear? You come across that expression?
Only in Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Okay, right. It's somebody who might otherwise seem quite placid, becoming aggressive in the face of criticism or threat to their children.
Right. No, I think she reacts that way because Picard's just been damn rude and unprofessional.
Yeah, and telling her to leave the bridge because she's a woman and happens to be a mother.
Yeah, it's just bad.
It's sexist wank. But she probably is a tiger mum as well. That's probably fair. I would say I was, except I'm not sure I'm ever soft and cuddly.
No, you're just tiger generally.
Yeah, that's probably about right, really.
Yes, tiger woman. You're a raw. Yes.
What does Purry think of this bollocks?
Hello, Orgs. Purry here to talk about Datalore. I had quite fond memories of this episode, to be honest. I think it was because I definitely was more of a Data fanboy when I was younger. He's not soured. I like the character. I think Brent Spiner kind of cheeses you off the more you get to know him, the more you hear about backstage. And quite frankly, just about every time you see him playing someone who isn't Data. Yeah, this episode, I can't remember the name of the ship now, was it the Tripoli? I was a bit disappointed with the crew that they just went to this planet which had apparently had all the life wiped out from it. Because they found a robot, hey, let's naff off. Also, I'd like to cover a fan sort of thing here. Is Data the only member of any Star Trek cast we've seen the bum of on screen? Was that Brent Spiner's arse moulded as part of the bit? Because there is a definite bum there. People need to know this. So, on to the episode. Now, the concept I like the idea of an evil twin. I think what's actually annoyed me in this watching is this could have been so much better. If you look at this, some of the main problems are, I'm going to blame some on the director, and I think he could have also reined in Spiner a bit. The problem is, not even with prior knowledge, but the minute Lore's awake, he's a wrong'un. It's his expressions, his mannerisms, all seem like he's just about got a moustache and is twirling it. He is evil, Data. Look at me eviling, work out how to run the ship. But oh no, I'm just being nice. I like serving humans to giant crystalline entities. I mean, dinner. And it's that sort of thing. I think if he'd underplayed it, if it had actually been played closer to Data but with contractions and hints of emotions, that would have been something. If you also got a bit more of motivation, I mean, essentially, he said the colonists were jealous of him, but Lore's an absolute arse. Every time he's turned up since, he's been a complete dick. And it's just thinking, you know what? he just seemed to be evil. I think it would have been better if you'd had this concept of, for whatever reason, he'd been shunned, if there was actual evidence that maybe he was wronged at some other point. But we don't get that, we just get him. And the other thing with the direction is every time Laura's on screen they're playing spooky, spooky, spooky music. One of the things as well, because again, there's things aren't covered and there's things I'd like to know. For example, there's a whole bunker system down there. You know, they say it's got bunks and everything. Now, it's possible all residents naffed off, but why would they go off without telling people? Aside from Dr. Creaky Soong, who, you know, we know naffed off earlier. And we know from later episodes of TNG that he was still around and that sort of thing. But everyone else, they had a bunker there. Now, I think it would have been more if we'd learned later on that Lore had in fact been the one who'd called the crystalline entity. Well, kind of it's implied, but also that he'd locked everyone out of the bunker or something, or that he'd forced them to evacuate during that sort of thing, and then the last thing Soong had done was dismantled him, left Data sit. I mean, it still doesn't really make sense. Again, the whole sequence of events leading up to that colony being destroyed is a bit woolly. So, yeah, overall, there's so many things that kind of niggle like a sort of missing filling. It does really annoy you, and it's a shame because this could have been a good episode. To give you a hint in the subtlety, to come up with another sinister evil AI version, particularly the first of Knight Rider's Kit and Car stories. I think it was called Trust Doesn't Rust. Classic Knight Rider episode titles there. When Car's first introduced, you get a lot more of his motivation. Essentially, they say it, quite frankly, that he was programmed for self-preservation rather than Kit, who was programmed the preservation of all life. And indeed, that would have been something more interesting, that Lore was programmed to be too human, so he was programmed with all human desires and that sort of thing. He was programmed with a sense of his own power, and turned out that that great power corrupted him. But no, we don't get it. We just get he's evil because he's evil. And look at him being evil. Look at all the evil things he's doing, and he's got an evil tick and everything. I hope the tick vanished. And he fixed his tick with like a torch. And there's also other wee bits that kind of bug me. In the assembly part, one of the crewmen's bringing a hold of like Laura's hand parts in jugs, and it is like, what are you doing, Steve? Oh, I thought it would look cool, kind of Frankenstein's monster. Data's standing right there, Steve. Insensitive. Go stand in a corner. But no, it just seems weird. I mean, it's got a good core to it, but I just think the actual execution's really ham-fisted. So overall, not that great. But it's not Angel One. So keeping my powder dry in that one, I'll be back shortly to talk about Angel One. Until then, bye for now.
Bye. I love the idea of trust doesn't rust.
Blimey, Charlie. I don't remember any of those Knight Rider episodes, but there we go.
But you're right, it would have been a lot better if we'd heard that Lore had been programmed for self-preservation.
Yeah.
Compared to Data programmed for the preservation of all life. That would have been a much more interesting comparison.
It's unclear motivation into why he is evil, beyond the fact that he's more human than human. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
A definite bum, by the way, describes the episode very nicely, I think.
Yeah. Do we see any other arses, though? I'm just wondering whether in what's that shit film we haven't covered yet?
Insurrection. I'm not sure there's any
we don't get any
visual arse.
arse.
I mean, it is a bunch of arse, but there isn't.
No, I'm just wondering because of the wedding scene. Or that Nemesis?
That Nemesis. The wedding happens in Nemesis, and
do we not see any arse?
No, there's no arse. Why would you see arse in a wedding scene?
Because of the Betazoid wedding.
Oh, no, you don't see any of that.
Do we see any arse at the Betazoid wedding in Next Gen? Do we see Major Barrett's arse?
I can't honestly remember it, possibly because I've wiped it from my memory.
So we might see Major Barrett's arse and can't remember?
Yes, maybe. I'm not going back to rewatch that to discover
whether or not we see any arse.
No. Yes. And you're right, the events around his discovery, I was sitting there trying to work it out myself.
It doesn't, it's woolly, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's like, the Enterprise crew are just surprised when they turn up at the planet and all the life's been removed. But surely that was part of the Silicon Avatar's attack, which happened when after the crew found Data on the... because there was nobody else there, was there, when they found Data? So the Silicon Avatar had killed all the humans.
Yeah, so why didn't they report on that? And like Purry said, why on earth did they just fuck off with Data rather than...
Yeah, this whole planet's been destroyed, but look, shiny androids. Look at his bum.
And yeah.
So that was it, the bum distracted them.
Oh, bum. The
titties come in the next story.
Yeah. But, they found this whole underground bunker thing and don't investigate or whatever. It's
Sorry, underground bunker and bums. It's just making me giggle now as well.
Well, that's better than watching the fucking episode.
Underground bunker. Which may be the title for the episode.
It may well be.
It's where they keep all the bums in the underground bunker.
Do Klingon arses have ridges?
Probably, yes. It's why they're so grumpy all the while, because they have to sit on them.
Their own arses give them piles.
Yes. Well, there we are. Let's find out what Drew and Tracy made of this one.
We just watched Star Trek Next Generation Datalore, didn't we?
Datalore?
Datalore.
Is that what it was called?
It was called Datalore.
Oh, I get it now. Data and lore. Oh, right, that's just too good. So, Data's acting like he's orgasmic.
When was that?
At the beginning. And it turns out he's actually going for a sneeze.
Oh, right, yeah.
Wesley Crusher is dressed like fucking Rainbow Bright in some kind of weirdo outfit.
Yep.
Both of those things are completely wrong. Data's going back to his homeworld.
Yep.
Right. And all this excitement's going on, and it's not even like the opening credits yet.
I know.
Right? There was a lot going on in like the teaser trailer, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was, yep.
And then it just fucking went downhill.
They beamed down to a really terrible set, didn't they?
Why are like all the planets that they beamed down to full of rocks, and they have like this weird glow
only series
about
1, wasn't it? You can see like where the budget goes on, like because they don't beam down to places like that in any future series of any Star Trek, do they? It just looked really bad.
You just knew this wasn't going to bode well, though, didn't you? So Data finds his mould.
Yep.
Yeah. On the ship.
It looked like them things we used to get the jelly He-Man things, didn't it? Like he pulled out a jelly Data out of it. Yeah.
And it fit him perfectly, obviously. And you did kind of say, well, why didn't they make his nose a little bit smaller?
I would have done that.
Which would make me chuckle, to be fair.
Yeah.
But then he pulls out his head, which was a little bit reminiscent of like Crichton, wasn't it? Oh, I've got an extra head.
Yes.
But then I was like, fucking hell, this looks like a 70s pop star. It was a little bit reminiscent for me of a bit Cliff Richard or a little bit Alvin Stardust, wasn't it?
I thought it was like his 80s head, like Words of Gummidge. You can go, put my 80s pop star head today.
No, he looked 70s.
Oh, it might have been 70s. Yeah, he did have a bit of a feather cut going on.
It was mad, wasn't it?
When they got Lore back to the ship, and they was like, and Picard was doing the voiceover, and it was all dimmed lights, isn't it? And they was all putting them together, and he's like, oh, if they can work out how to put them together. It was like there was a torso, 2 legs, 2 feet. I was like,
and they all had
it can't be that difficult to put together, can it?
And they all had either a hole in like a pocket. It was like a plug and twist, wasn't it?
But it's not that difficult.
Did they really need
for
a
these
chief
geniuses
engineer to kind of oversee this?
I guess what they meant, and you did see, was the wiring and all that lot, but it was a bit funny when he's saying, we're not sure if they're going to be able to put them together, and it was literally like a puzzle of about 7 pieces.
Exactly, a bit daft. You knew he was going to be a baddie, didn't you?
Well,
you knew Lore was going to be a baddie.
I was going to make this point, especially when like you got the classic "Shut up, Wesley." Thing.
Why do they always do this? It's such a cliche. So they dismiss him because he's a kid, and like Wesley's telling the truth. So if they'd listened to him like ages ago,
obvious. I mean,
of course, it's fucking obvious.
It was obvious, like. If ever another twin comes about, you know it's going to be an evil twin, don't you? I mean, if no one on the Enterprise ever watched any sci-fi, if ever there's a doppelganger, it's an evil doppelganger,
this is
isn't
what
it?
I've said before. You need to watch the table.
And it was obvious, wasn't it? It was like,
and he did not have like an evil, sinister twitch at all, did he?
Could anyone not realise instantly that was the baddie Data as Lore, wasn't it? It was a bit silly, but you know.
It did make me laugh when they were saying, oh, how do we turn it on? And we were just like, just send in Tasha Yar.
Yes, I know.
That'd get him turned on in an instant, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Bev was really red.
She was red. She is red in
yeah, but no, she's more
1.
ginger as it goes through, but she was really red in here.
Yeah.
I didn't like Picard in this episode.
Yeah.
He's just a bit of a Sully. Like,
but he's very posh in Susan.
I don't mean posh, he's always posh, but I just meant Sully. He's got a right arse on about Wesley.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. Didn't do it for me.
Okay. We caught the my God from Bev, didn't we? You don't often see that, especially old Gene Roddenberry letting that go through.
You said it was Tasha Yar that said it.
No, it was definitely Crusher. Yeah. She said, "My God," when the crystalline entity coming on.
So you said the crystalline entity?
Yes.
Where Riker was like, the crystal thingy?
Yes.
So you know it better than he is. You should be on Starfleet, baby.
Well, because I've seen the future episodes that comes back.
You should be on Starfleet, baby.
Maybe.
I like it. Anyway, let's leave it there.
It's alright. It's okay.
Let me just say, this is fucking season 1.
Dated season 1 stuff. Not terrible. I'd say that. Not terrible.
I just can't believe you're making me watch season 1 again.
I'm not making you. Peter Organ's making you watch it.
Damn you! Better see how the next one goes.
Okay.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
You're right. Fucking season 1.
I'm not making anybody watch these things. I'm inviting you to join me on my voyage of discovery. And apparently people are willing to do that. Yeah, I'm dated. Very dated and suffering from 80s head.
Yeah.
Sending that'll turn him on.
Oh, don't. But you're right, how hard is a 7-piece puzzle? It doesn't look difficult to assemble. The props they use are quite bad.
Yes, they are, but as they should have included a load of wiring just lying around. And pieces that weren't obvious where they went. As it is, so the slightest grasp of anatomy does not suggest how you're going to put it all together. That's it. They should have assembled it all with Laurie's head on back to front. Oh, whoops!
Just
C-3PO style. That's his C-3PO style. It's like, oh my, I'm blind.
Oh, an arse from an elbow. Yeah. And yes, you are so right. That face mould is a jelly He-Man.
Jelly He-Man? What's this?
Do you not remember? Oh, they were like, they're supposed to be jelly sweets, but they weren't like gummy bears. They were a bit more stringy and floppy than that.
Oh, you're really selling them.
And they came in these plastic covers, which when you took the very bad tasting sweet out, left you with an almost perfect mould of what had been inside it. In very thin plastic.
Which was useful because...
Fuck no.
Right.
But the plastic left behind when you'd eaten the bad-tasting, very stringy, shitey jelly sweets was incredibly reminiscent of what you see Data. It's just the moment they said that, I was like, yes, I remember those sweets, and you were totally right.
Okay, right. Well,
if you think of like you got with an action figure, you've got the plastic bit. Right. The plastic bit on these terrible He-Man jelly sweets, one of which I remember having, which was blue. What the fuck is blue flavour? Right, but anyway, it is exactly like that face mask.
Okay. Right. Yes.
Sorry. Anything other than this actual episode. We've heard from the Llama God.
Llama God's Log, Scotty, Chef Jake, Shat, Vacancy, We continue on our rewatch of Star Trek Deep Space Nine as we rewatch the classic episode. We do. Oh, fucking hell. Right, okay, so we're doing Next Generation this week. Oh, well, never mind. In for a penny, in for a slip of platinum or something. I don't know. I wouldn't know, there isn't money here. Anywho, first of all, to address something from one of my previous feedback sessions, I think everyone was quite surprised that I reacted quite favourably to Let He Who Is Without Sin. By no means I'm going to say that it was a great episode, but it was just enough that it was enjoyable. And what's interesting to me is that I'm wondering maybe this is because I haven't actually watched a lot of Star Trek recently. Maybe it's because only jumping on board where the broadcast is, my benchmark for measuring the quality of the show isn't quite as good. It really is the only Star Trek that I'm watching at the moment. Is this why I can forgive it? I mean, is it possible that if I was to rewatch Voyager in this same situation that I would think it wasn't a big pile of shit? Although I shouldn't really refer to Voyager as a pile of shit, because that's really unfair to the important biological function that excrement actually provides. To answer that question then, I guess I will go ahead and watch Datalore and see what I actually make of this much maligned first season. And it's going to be interesting because I haven't actually rewatched this since it originally aired on BBC Two back in 1990, so this is going to be a bit weird. So on the plus side, I haven't actually watched any of the Next Generation Blu-rays yet, so, wow, it does look really pretty, and I'm grateful for that much. Okay. Now, to be fair, the episode doesn't actually start all that badly. Okay, that's actually a lie. The episode actually starts quite badly, with Picard musing about how, although they have other things to do, it would be nice to go and have a bit of a dick around on Data's old home planet. And then, having decided that, he decides to send Wesley off to go and observe Data having a wank, or whatever it is he's actually doing. With that out of the way, the command crew make light of the fact that the colony where Data was found, everyone was wiped out. So, yeah, that's an amusing moment. All people died. It's amusing. Oh my god. But after that, the first, 5 minutes after the credits aren't that bad. The interior sets are actually quite well realised and well lit. The external sets are once again the playaway set, but at the very least, it isn't the Southern Californian foothills yet again. So it's got that going for it. But yeah, the interior shots are quite well lit. I kind of like that. And the music when they're exploring the old colony is actually really good. It's very atmospheric. It's like the composer's trying to replicate Alien in a way. It's got a definite sort of atmosphere to it. I kind of really appreciate that. Although eventually the music does segue into late 80s Doctor Who music, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's mostly a bad thing. And then they bring Laura up, and Discovery is mostly made of plastic, and it all goes horribly wrong. And the crew are clearly idiots. You've spoken at length before about how Data was security risk to the ship, and here we get to see extremely early evidence of the fact that the crew were never ever going to do anything about that, because oh my god, they put Law together and then 5 minutes later they show them how to use the ship. They are fucking idiots. I don't know if this has been covered in Space Dock Jury yet, but yeah, competence level less than 0 at this point. That said, one of the things that a lot of people go on about is Brent Spiner's performance, and I actually always really liked Data, and I never really understood why he was so maligned. And yeah, he can go over the top when he's doing emotions, but his initial portrayal of Law here was really quite sinister. Unfortunately, though, it all goes downhill the moment he reveals that he's actually in league with an evil alien CGI effect. So that's a bit shit. And honestly, yeah, after that, I really don't know what to say. Except for the couple of choice lines of dialogue, with Picard sending Wesley to go up and check on Data because Wesley is clearly expendable, and then Wesley later telling his mum that he's heard that she knows how to turn them on. Oh yeah. So yeah, it's an episode that starts with promise and mystery and intrigue, and goes a bit shit as soon as Elsa shows up. Oh well. So I think a useful thing for the future then would be that when it comes to Season 1 of Star Trek Next Generation, we're just going to have to let it go, turn away and slam that door. I don't care what they're going to say. Let the season play on. I don't let this bother me anyway.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. But as I say, you don't have to watch them. It's completely down to you. But it does sound like Lava's checking out of the Season 1 episode in future, arguably sensibly. Yeah, that whole thing about the crew being so stupid.
Yeah.
And Lee, when we did the Enterprise D, was insisting that we gave the crew 5 for,
No, they're twits.
I know. It just showed he hadn't watched the series in a while.
Yes. It was extra points for nostalgia.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Do you need to have a rule on Space Dock like Black Dog where your opinion is scratched if you haven't watched recently enough?
Possibly that Autofactory, but anyway, that's a different podcast.
Sorry, is it just raising it?
I personally prefer the California foothills any day to this dire set, and all the dire sets that we see in Season 1. Although, obviously, to sell it as a planet that had been devastated, they'd have to go to the desert that they use occasionally.
Yeah.
So, yes, that would have been a better plan, I can't help feeling.
Yeah.
But you're right, the interior sets were good. I think that was the sort of the highlight of the story, really, was them marching down those corridors.
And the music is good.
Yes, and the music is indeed good, yeah. Although it's having to try very hard at times to try and keep you interested, it has to be said, when evil Law is explaining his evil plan. We give
evilness.
a shit.
Yes, because reasons. But yeah, I do think that being either Star Trek deprived or more generally science fiction deprived makes you more forgiving, because when we watched these episodes first time round, we were much more forgiving of them, because what else was there to watch?
Exactly, this was sci-fi.
At the time.
It's got spaceships and it's fantastic!
Yeah.
You rather ignored the fact that, yes.
I'm more into the aliens than the spaceships, but that was very much, this is the future, and it's a positive future in the main. I love the idea of exploring space, and I love aliens. So again, because there was nothing else doing the same thing, I would have automatically been very forgiving of it.
Back in our house, we still only had 4 channels at this point, so your chances of seeing a sci-fi series weren't high.
Yeah, so, Snap. Yeah. And there was really very little else on.
Yeah, I remember the day.
Yeah.
We had our E-Man jellies. Whatever they were.
Do you not remember
I think they were after my time, I rather suspect.
Possibly. Anyway, I do think that does factor into a lot of people's viewing of the Next Generation particularly, because by the time Deep Space Nine came along, you had Babylon 5, you had the X-Files, you had more series, but with Next Gen...
That was it.
Yeah.
It was because Doctor Who had finished as well.
Exactly.
You couldn't even compare it to that.
No.
And obviously, visually compared to Doctor Who, it was miles ahead because it had, movie standard effects. But anyway, I think whilst we're singing Trek's praises...
Bizarrely.
And remembering how the memory cheats, let's look at Angel One.
The worm that turned, yes.
Next time on Star Trek The Next Generation.
There are survivors from the Odin on this planet.
A rescue team struggles to find a shipwrecked crew.
These people are facing their death down here.
Because they're fugitives on Angel One.
We were no harm to anyone.
And a disease-infested Enterprise can't save them.
No one can team up. This virus is totally out of control here.
Now the crew is helpless to stop an execution on Star Trek The Next Generation.
The Enterprise is chasing after some escape pods from the freighter Odin and has brought them to the planet Angel One, which is... Yeah. Troy points out that Betazoid Society is matriarchal too, which kind of makes sense of her mum, I suppose. And Worf says Klingons appreciate strong women, but not enough to allow them to serve on the High Council, eh, Wolfie Poos?
Well, in this series, they did with...
in Star Trek 6, yes. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why Star Trek 6 is good.
Sensibly, Picard gets Troy to make the opening contact, which is a good early use of the counsellor there.
Yeah.
It gives her something to do.
And it's logical, though.
Exactly. The hail is answered by Beata, the elected one, who makes it clear a visit is not welcome. Wow.
The thing is, though, why can she not... Well, they're all like, oh, we're horrified, we're not welcome. People are entitled to their privacy. Why can they not... People not just go, actually, no thanks.
I want to be alone.
Well, no, it doesn't have to be like that. Women are allowed to say no.
Well, and then species generally, yes. But apparently not, because the Federation still turns up. There we go.
Well, it's very fucking Roddenberry, though, isn't it? No understanding of consent.
Indeed. Well, he did co-write this episode. It's his last writing job on Star Trek.
Oh, it's a pile of fucking wank.
Say no more. We see a map of the planet, which was reused many times in Next Generation and indeed Deep Space Nine, because, well, it's actually pretty good. And there's also a nighttime version we see later as well.
There's a blatant satellite dish. Did you notice it?
Yeah, well, it's obviously not supposed to be a satellite dish so much.
Well, I think it is, because they did say that their technology is comparable with the 20th century.
But I don't think they're sitting there watching Sky, if that's what you mean.
No.
Upon visiting Beata, she remains shifty about the presence of the freighter crew, although she gives away that...
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying anything.
I'm not saying it. No, didn't see him here. Didn't see anything. Move along. Oh, come on.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Bollocks.
The women are all wearing robes with 80s power collars, because that indicates authority.
And fucking shoulder pads.
Yeah. Whereas the tiny men are all dressed in Barbie's hand-me-downs with Bajoran-style earrings, interestingly.
Yeah, but they've also got, the crotch is really highlighted in their clothing.
Yeah.
With all the straps, and they're all, with really open to the chest.
Showing a nip. Yeah.
Hideousness and
ribbons. It's all very subtle. I can't quite see what they're trying to get at here.
No, I have no idea at all.
Troy picks up on fear for various reasons from the women in the room, a rare instance of her empathic powers telling us something we don't already know, so that's quite good.
And she says as well that it's not all the same cause, it's all mixed.
So actually she's pretty good in this story, ironically. It's just a shame the story stinks. Picard talks to Worf about Romulan ships being detected near the neutral zone border, which is a nice seeding for the end of the season story, of course, which we've already covered. Next Generation doing continuity again, shocker. Shame it wasn't the main story, really, isn't it?
More than a tad.
First mention of Romulans in the new series, there we go. Then he gets somehow hit by a snowball thrown from the holodeck by Wesley. Now, I think we can only presume at this point that the snow was replicated rather than just a holographic image, because clearly as soon as it went out the door of the holodeck it would have just disappeared rather than hit him in the face. And that kind of does make sense if you think about it, because if you're actually skiing on it, it can't be a holograph because you just dropped through it. So therefore, the holodeck is full of replicated snow at this point.
Yeah, but you say that, but then when in the episode of Moriarty they try and put things outside the holodeck, it doesn't work.
Well, again, that's the people. They always fade out, but they're not
try
replicated.
And throw a chair out at one point, and
No.
the chair doesn't go out the other side because it's not a replicated chair; it's a holographic chair.
I can't remember that, I must admit. No, I mean, all I remember
Might
is
be another episode, but I'm sure at one point they try and throw a chair out and it doesn't work.
I mean, and obviously, if it were a chair that one of the crew was going to sit on, it would need to be replicated, because if it was a holograph, then the people would just drop through it.
But then in First Contact, if safety's off, even a holographic bullet can kill, would suggest that
they're replicated bullets.
Would suggest that things are real, to all intents and purposes, within the holodeck. It doesn't necessarily follow that they are real outside of it.
But again, in order to cause any damage to the Borg, those bullets had to be real.
But the Borg were in the holodeck. The Borg were not outside.
But
of the
they wouldn't
holodeck.
have been. They wouldn't have been damaged by a bullet that was just a holograph. Is the point?
Well, to be fair, that's never made sense. But what I'm saying is,
well, it does.
The rules about the holodeck apply with what happens in the holodeck stays in the holodeck. The rule about the holodeck apply only within the actual holodeck. In other episodes, things cannot exist, be present, or anything outside.
Well, again, it's mainly just people. When they walk out, they disappear, and clearly the people aren't going to be replicated, because that's just horrific to think about, isn't it? So therefore, they are just holograms.
Yeah, but how can they be touched then? Think of Minuet.
Yes, that is a difficult one. I don't. Oh, let's not worry about this.
My point is, it's not actually consistent.
No,
That's all of the point I'm making. Is that
anyway, it turns out this snow is smelly. Maybe it was yellow. Maybe that's why it's so annoying.
Oh, yellow.
Yeah, no word on whether Wesley or Worf dealt the smell, but there we are. Somehow Data doesn't know about perfume or the meaning of aphrodisiacs. Clearly his databanks haven't filled up yet or something. Bit odd, isn't it? Beata finally admits that there are 4 Odin survivors on the planet, like we hadn't guessed, but they don't know...
4 Odin survivors, badumtish. 4 Odin.
Very good, thank you for that. But they don't know where they are, because they're fugitives, thanks to their rebellious nature. Ooh. Riker asked Data how they might find them, which should surely be an easy job for the Enterprise to find human life signs on a planet that hasn't got any other humans on it. But they have to go through this complicated process whereby Data has to go to the library and then do some studying and then report that they haven't got platinum, and then they search for platinum. It's just like, what? That was overly complicated.
My thinking on that one, now again, this could be me being too forgiving, is that Angel One's humanoids are too similar to humans to distinguish the two species.
But then again, we've had before now, humans have been detectable from, Romulans, and so...
Yeah, but Romulans are different enough. The question is whether these people on Angel One, are different enough from humans to distinguish by a transporter from a distance.
Well, Picard has been infected by a virus that Wesley and his pal have gone down with, along with other members of a school field trip, so much for the transporter filters that are supposed to protect them from that sort of thing.
Yeah, they've all got a cold.
Yeah.
It would have been more interesting if it was an STD.
Oh, gosh. The captain is sent to bed with no supper by Dr. Crusher.
Oh, I just so want a scene with the possets to make him feel better.
Geordie's left in charge. This is the first 2 occasions we see this. Of course, it stops happening because he leaves the command division. He clearly milks it for all it's worth with a make it so. Riker is wearing local garb for his meeting with Beata.
Oh, me and our son, we just hid our eyes. It was awful.
Exposing his sexy nipper manliness.
Oh, my notes just go nipples, nipples, nipples. It's just awful. And she's talked, Beata has talked about things being against the natural order. That's against the natural order. Cover it up, it's wrong.
One of the Angel One in charge women, Ariel, is suspicious that the visitors have located the Odin crew so quickly. She's played by Patricia McPherson, who was in Knight Rider. Do you remember the character Bonnie Barstow?
No.
No, nor do I, because I think I only ever saw, 2 episodes of Knight Rider, because it was on ITV and I wasn't supposed to watch it.
No, I did a rewatch. They re-showed them all in the 90s.
Well, she was token woman member of the crew.
It's been unfortunately too long since I've seen it, but I did do a full rewatch of Knight Rider. They showed it, my guess is about 1994 on ITV.
Well, obviously you only had eyes for the Hoff anyway, so...
No. No, I've never understood the German, in particular, love of the Hoff. I was actually interested in the car.
Well, there we go. Beata makes her move on Riker. She can't resist the nip. Meanwhile, Troy, Yar and Data beam to the usual planet set. Here we go again. And locate a crewman called Ramsey.
Ramsey is the one?
No, that's Ramses. Though the men apparently from the Odin don't want to leave as they've started families on the planet. The Cheeseathon continues as Beata tells Riker about their naff society and that he attracts her like no man ever has. Wow, that nipple is potent. It's all so slow, and our son at this point said, "Make it stop." So we'll probably be had up for child abuse now, showing children season 1 Next Generation episodes.
He hid behind a cushion.
Yeah. The Odin crew aren't very Federation, going on about how sexy the local ladies are, hence they stayed on the alien world. Wow.
It's more like fucking Mud's women from 30 years earlier, isn't it?
Yar orders them to leave, but they refuse, and as Data points out, since they're civvies, they're not bound by the Prime Directive. And then the away team leave, Ariel appears and kips Ramsey. The away team return empty-handed. Beata sentences the Odin survivors to death. Crusher works out the virus is transmitted through the fart smell. We finally get some tension as things are apparently hotting up on the neutral zone. Not that, of course, we get to see any of this, unfortunately. Ramsey and the others are brought in as sneaky Beata and Ariel followed, and it's revealed that Angel One's guards are armed with barbecue forks. Ooh, scary. On the ship, Crusher appears to be the only crew member unaffected by the virus at this point, which is rather handy, isn't it? She forbids any beam up, but Riker cunningly sends Data up to take the Enterprise into the neutral zone on his own.
Now, that I like. That's Riker making the correct decision at the time. I like that.
But the android works out exactly how much time he has before setting off, and gives Crusher 48 minutes to find a cure. Beata shows off her disintegrator that destroys vases, and Riker makes a plea on the basis that Ramsey and the others will be held up as martyrs. Beata fails to follow through with her threat, adjourning to consider Riker's words. Clearly the nip has got to her. It's all a very naff resolution, because Beata returns to pronounce Ramsey and his followers exiled, quoting Riker in the process, "The power of the nip wins out." Meanwhile, Crusher finds the cure, quite easily, whoop-de-doo. That was worthy of a subplot, wasn't it?
It's transmitted by farts.
Yes, so you've got to put a peg on your nose or something. I don't know, don't care. I mean, all you get is with a strange diagram thing moving chips around on it. Oh, it's just pointless, absolutely pointless. Originally, apparently, this was supposed to be a take on apartheid, would you believe? Yeah, that didn't survive the writing process, did it? Gosh. In the original draft, Riker touched the leader and was nearly killed for doing so, only being saved by Yar stunning him with her phaser and taking command of the away team, which would have been a bit better, I suppose. But ultimately, yeah, it's all very naff and quite dull in places.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Fucking awful.
And all credit to the designer for coming up for those costumes. Wow.
Oh, man.
Just wow.
It is fucking the worm that turned.
Yeah.
The dateline is 2012. England is in the grip of a new regime of terror. Traditionally a land of brave heroes and great statesmen, Nelson, Wellington, Disraeli, Churchill. Britain now laboured under the yoke of a power guaranteed to strike fear into the hearts of all men. The country is being run by women.
It's fucking awful.
It's all as subtle as a brick to the face, isn't it? Or a wolf to the face, maybe.
Oh, I don't know what it is other than shite. It's just terrible.
Well, people might... No, they're not, are they? Anyway, that's what how why Doreen hated this, maybe.
Yeah. She says, okay, I think the best things I can say about this one, it was a product of its time and trying to show how bad genre politics used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But now, with all our superhero movies and much better female representation, it's just cringeworthy. What with Riker playing lip service to liking strong women, well, at the end, there's the very strong suggestion he believes forward evolution requires the men to be in charge.
There is, that's not very subtly put out, is it? I mean, you perhaps could infer that he means that equality has to be insisted upon, but it's quite difficult to work that one out, isn't it?
It is. She also says, thanks for the title of bOrgCast 10.5.
Oh, yes, you're quite welcome. Anyway, we stumbled across that one, didn't we?
Yes, we did, rather.
Well, I'm sure the Llama God will love this.
Llama God's log, supplemental. Fucking hell.
Yeah, well, that does sum it up quite nicely.
Yep, it does.
That
Thank
maybe
you.
should have been our episode review, I don't know.
Yeah. What did Drew and Tracy make of this?
Maybe they'll have a bit more to say. We shall find out.
Yeah, well, I don't think Tracy would like it, given her response to the last one.
So that was Angel One.
It's PC gone mad, I tell thee.
I'm telling you, it should have just been called, like, Vagina One.
Oh, I was talking about the 13th Doctor.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Current.
Anyhow.
Anywho, that should have been called Vagina One.
That was a joke, by the way. I'm absolutely 100% up for Women Doctor. Great stuff. But let's get on to Star Trek, shall we?
Finished?
Yes,
Thank
I am,
you.
yes.
That should have been called Vagina One. You fucking made me lose my joke 3 times. I'm going to keep saying it. Vagina One, Vagina One, Vagina One.
It was a very good joke.
So what the fuck was Wesley and his little playmate wearing when they went out in the snow?
I know.
It was just like, I'm sorry, right? There's been times we've woken up and it's been snow outside and we've been like, exciting. I've never wore a fucking silver headband.
Every episode of season 1 has got something to say about how bad they're dressed, isn't it?
You're not going to sweat in the snow, Wes.
Yeah, okay.
You don't need it. That is just bad. So you knew as soon as they went onto the planet.
Yep.
And as it Beata clocked Riker, she was like, I'm shagging that.
Yep.
And she fucking did. And you know, it was just
he did look pretty good in his open-chested thing with his bare chest out.
I liked his fur.
Bare as in fairy bear.
Oh, it was just a bit. We did like go, what the fuck are you
I know,
wearing?
and old Troy
we did laugh.
were laughing and we were laughing as well.
Well, Troy can laugh all she likes because she goes on to fucking want that later. So, you know, she's dissing it. So they've got a cold.
Man flu, and they got it bad.
They've got
I see the parallels, okay? There's a planet dominated by women, and there's man flu going around the Enterprise.
Exactly, there's not one woman on the Enterprise that's poorly.
I know!
Even Bev, when
Bev
she
was just like a
realises
soldier.
what it is, and she's like, oh, I can smell the smell, and I've kind of inhaled the virus.
man flu.
And she's like, oh, I've just got to get to work, babe, because
Exactly.
I need to cure this.
Yeah.
Fucking Picard's lying in bed going, oh, I'm dying. And like, Worf is sneezing his fucking Klingon nose off. What's going on?
I don't know what that was all
Bunch
about.
of pussies.
Yeah. Ramsey was MacGyver, wasn't he? I didn't know that
I don't
MacGyver
quite
was
know
in
who
this.
MacGyver is.
Yeah, you know, MacGyver, he makes all the stuff with, like, you know, he makes like a bazooka out of like a paperclip and a elastic band.
Are you saying the guy who was in this is actually MacGyver?
No, I'm saying he looked like him, didn't he? He had the 80s mullet going on.
This was a bit boring for me. I started doing a shopping list.
I know, I was really like trying to get you, like, come on, watch it. Yeah, I can remember this one really well. I've got a feeling I might have had this on video, actually.
You had them all on video?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
It just wasn't that interesting. It was just
not seen it a long time. But what I would say though is it wasn't, again, like the last one, it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't very good either, was it? You can see what they're trying to do, like the old female dominated thing, like role reversal with like men dominated society that we live in. You can see what they're doing, but it's just like not that interesting,
okay,
really.
Question then: if it's female dominated and they're not
Yep.
looking to impress any males or anything like that, why is she done up to the nines in her makeup
Well,
and
no,
got her bestest clothes on.
Well, she's not. She's just like a man wearing a suit, isn't it?
But she's got, yeah, but a man doesn't put his makeup on.
Well, I don't know. He combed his hair and all that, like had a shave. I don't know. I see what they're doing, and again, not a terrible episode, just not good, really. You're just like, a bit boring and rubbish.
Could her little lackey have been any
Trent
McGayer?
Oh, I know. Yes.
He was such a little lap boy there.
He was very camp, wasn't he? Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt a bit uneasy about this episode. It was a bit. Bleh.
It's just not very good.
No, exactly. All right, let's leave it there.
Okay.
Let's hope the next one is better.
Well, hopefully it's going to be Deep Space Nine, I would think.
Oh, please. Anyway, talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Thank you for date stamping that, yes, with the Doctor Who reference. Yeah, I've not seen any ski clothing, clothing that's specifically for going skiing that has looked any good, to be honest, to be fair, so that's not necessarily that outrageous. It did make me wonder, when you were talking about Beata, that actually Bearthur would have been much better in this episode. Oh, Golden Girls crossover. Wow. That would have been at least amusing.
Bloody hell.
That's what they should have done, isn't it? Got the Golden Girls in.
Planet of the Golden Girls.
Yeah. No, it's shoulder pad. Mind you, they wore shoulder pads quite a bit. I seem to remember.
They did.
So they would have fitted right in with this
that
story.
That would have been awesome.
And Riker would have got off with Bearthur. Holy crap. Somewhere there's a parallel universe where that's a thing.
I love the idea that in the Enterprise they're suffering from man flu.
Yes, the connection, yes.
Because none of it's true, you don't see
any women suffering, yes.
No.
That's partly because you don't see any women, of course, annoying.
Other than Crusher?
Yeah, other than Crusher, who's, as you say, a trooper in this, yes. Blimey, Charlie. There we are.
Bloody hell. So I'm just mental image of Riker and Bearthur.
Getting it on.
I could do without that. Clearly, 5.5 pints of beer is not enough.
No, getting about to beer is enough for that. Let's cleanse our palate by hearing what Puri made of this one.
Hello again, Puri here to talk about Angel One. I'm really not sure what the point of this episode was. Well, I kind of do, and I think this is what annoys me. I'd actually be really interested. I'm really interested to hear what you think of this. I don't think you're going to like it, but it's kind of more the analysis. And actually, there's another guy, Space Squid on Geek Syndicate, who's doing an episode-by-episode kind of coverage of all Trek. And I'll be interested to hear, because he's got a very interesting way of looking at things, worth checking out. But plugging other people's things aside, documents aside, this one's weird because I think it had good intentions behind it, but it runs into a problem. So the idea is ultimately set around this matriarchal society where women are in charge. Women are the stronger of the two sexes, and the men are kind of in weaker, more decorative roles, which they usually use this for a kind of a how would you like it idea. And the problem with that is it always falls flat to me because ultimately, it's kind of the idea is meant to say to men, how would you like it if people were sexist at you, and would you be then fighting like a suffragette but male? And it doesn't really work because ultimately we know what men in power looks like because we live it, and all we're really seeing is a slight reversal of the situation. Your use of the comparison to the worm that turned is entirely accurate. We're seeing a slight reversal of that situation, but ultimately it doesn't really say anything about how they're trying to say any gender in power is bad, but it just looks like they're kind of saying, oh look, if women were in power things would be just as awful, so quite frankly a male-dominated society is nothing bad. The subplot, I wasn't sure. The subplot, essentially, they're saying the crew's nearly like dying and they're all down with the virus. And, I mean, like I say, I've got to admit it, I was drifting out of this one a bit. It was late and it's rubbish. But the crew, I mean, basically they were saying, like, the crew was almost all incapacitated with this sort of super cold kind of thing. And they're still saying, yep, Data, can you beam up so you can take the ship to meet the Romulans? It's like, meet the Romulans? Or to the Romulan border? Exactly what's a ship controlled by one android going to do? Are they going to just beam the whole crew aboard in the hope of spreading a virulent disease on board Romulan warbirds? Because that's about all they could do is sneeze at them. But that aside, that story just seemed to be a subplot to give in some extra peril and probably to pad out the episode. On the planet, there were some things I liked. I liked the idea that they let Troy take the lead, although Riker keeps butting in, and you're either saying, this is the Federation, we do things differently, so, by the way, the head of this delegation's Riker, or you're saying, we're being very careful and diplomatic, so why not send an all-female away team? You could sit there and say, right, Troy, Yar, and 2 extras, because Crusher's needed on the Enterprise for that plot, but, you could do with more female cast members. They could have done that and said, well, for this we're going to send only women down. But no, they didn't. They still send Riker and Data down just because reasons and main cast. And obviously Riker has to bed the woman in charge in literally hours. And award her the weird thing, the kind of pound shop gift that they bought them. Oh, look, it's a glowing ball. Ooh, you're so advanced. Really? But yeah, I think this is the thing. I think the episode didn't really have an idea of what its message was meant to be because, well, they did. Riker does a very patronising mansplaining speech at the end about how you can't stand against the progress of everyone being equal and everyone should be equal. But I think it would have worked. It works better when you completely alienate these things because seeing it as we're used to at the moment just doesn't work. And so, in that respect, the whole episode kind of fails. And it's dull. It's really dull. It's dull, and we see Riker's nipple and his chin. All in all wrong. So all it remains to say is do keep up the good work. I always enjoy the podcast and I'll hope to feedback in the next 2 episodes. Until then, bye for now.
Bye! Nice to hear the little pilots in the background there as well. Viral warfare on the Romulans. That would have been cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Throw another crewman over. And it is annoying, isn't it, that you don't see that they head off for their, showdown with the Romulans, but which presumably never happened because they, the last episode of the season, they've not met the Romulans. So, what was that about? I don't know. The all-female away team would have been good.
Yeah, that would have made more sense.
And then for one of them to have bedded the... Yeah, anyway.
The glowing ball.
Yeah, but Riker's glowing ball didn't do it for you. Amazing.
No.
Okay. Worked for her. That and the nip.
Yes. And what is a ship crewed by just an android and loads of people suffering from flu supposed to do? Yeah,
viral warfare, see?
Oh, okay. Basically, it's a load of wank, isn't it?
I guess. It would appear that people are slightly more forgiving than us, but not by much. They haven't got your rage.
Well, I've had nearly 6 pints of beer.
Blimey O'Reilly.
And I still can't like it.
Well, yeah, I don't think any amount of beer is going to get you to like it.
It's just fucking awful.
You didn't like them, did you? Never mind.
No!
Maybe next...
They're bloody terrible and fucking awful. And each time you make me watch a Next Gen episode, I'm going to tickle you. Because I know you hate being tickled, so just so you're aware,
okay, right.
Next time one comes up, I will tickle you.
But they might be better. Well, I will presumably won't get tickled if they're better.
There are only 3 good Season 1 Next Gen episodes.
Uh-huh.
They are Conspiracy.
Yeah, we've done that one already.
The one with the Romulans.
Neutral Zone, we've done that one already.
And Code of Honor, which I've already done.
No,
you mean
Code of Honor.
Heart of the Klingon one, which I've already done briefly.
Yeah.
And as payment for doing shiteness, Andy's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. That's what we agreed, and that's absolutely fine. But it means that, as a consequence, there are no good Season 1 episodes that you can tell me I'm watching. They do not exist. I've already watched them, or somebody else's. I'm not going to be surprised. They're all fucking terrible.
Anyway, next time, obviously...
Are we living in the mirror universe?
I don't know. We're covering Deep Space Nine. You'll be released.
Yay!
For bOrgCast 10.6. Recording on Thursday, the 10th of August. And we're covering the episodes The Darkness and the Light, which has pregnant Kira in danger. Remember that one?
No.
No. And The Begotten, where Odo has...
No, that I remember. I'm not saying any more, because it would be spoilery, but that one I do remember actually very well.
Uh-huh. So there we are.
It's good.
Yeah, I think it is, yes. Well, Return of Moropol.
The Begotten, I remember very much liking the last time I saw it, which would have been 5-ish years ago, I think.
Oh, I have a feeling I maybe found it a bit mawkish, but anyway, we shall see.
It'll be interesting to have a rewatch, but I think it was about 5 years ago I last watched that particular episode, and I liked it. Just
a reminder that the Black Dog crew are recording their charity special next week for the victims of the Glenfall fire. So do poke a bit of money their way on their what's it called?
Just Giving.
Just Giving, yes. And they're watching some Vanilla Ice monstrosity.
Yes.
Excellent. Well done, them.
Yes.
Very brave.
Very.
Maybe the rest of the season 1 episodes you ought to cover for charity. Rather than tickles, do it for charity. There's a thought. We'll have to find a suitable charity to do it for.
We would have to find a suitable charity.
There we are. Oh,
I'll think about it.
Excellent. Okay, we'll catch you next time. Cheerio, bye, folks.
Bye-bye. The bOrgCast is brought to you by the lovely people at geekplanetonline.com.
Music at the beginning of this podcast was written and performed by Adam Buxton and is used with his kind permission. All music referenced is for illustrative purposes only and no copyright infringement is intended.
To contact us, you can use the forums at geekplanetonline.com.
Visit our Tumblr site at bOrgCast.tumblr.com where you'll find images accompanying the episodes discussed in this cast.
Send email messages or MP3s to bOrgCast@geekplanetonline.com.
Or you can contact us via Twitter on rev_org or bOrgCastAmmo. #bOrgCast.
You would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say thank you for being a friend.
Shut it down!